AEW Collision is set to debut tonight live on TNT, and there could be a surprising AEW debut set for the show. Details on that, plus Nick Jackson has defended Hangman Adam Page after CM Punk criticized him in a recent interview with ESPN. Speaking of CM Punk, he's got a brand new shirt to mark his return to AEW this evening at Collision. An update on the AEW Collision broadcast team after AEW President Tony Khan revealed what the lineup will be at the commentary desk. Speaking of Collision 2, we know what the intro song is going to be, and it's not a name that you would maybe expect. The Acclaimed have also been advertised for tonight's show at the United Center. The Hardys versus the Guns is set to take place on AEW Dynamite next week, and an update on the contracts of Andrade and Rusev in AEW. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off talking about tonight's AEW Collision live on TNT. We will be doing a watch-along live for the show here on the channel, as well as a post-show, so if you don't check that out, join me later on this evening. We'll be going live about 15 minutes before the show goes on the air live at 1 a.m. UK time. Of course, that's 8 p.m. Eastern in the United States. But we could be actually going to see this evening a surprising debut and another name becoming All Elite. Now, obviously, I don't want to spoil it for you, so spoilers ahead. I'll give you a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look away now or skip ahead to a future part of the video, because tonight we could see the AEW debut of a former CM Punk rival. CM Punk is returning to All Elite Wrestling. He's going to be squaring off against his longtime rival Samoa Joe, stepping inside a ring against each other for the first time in nearly 20 years. But another name that could be set to return to CM Punk's professional wrestling life is none other than Chris Hero. Yes, this comes from a report from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. A very interesting name is set to be in town in Chicago for AEW Collision. Now, AEW could be adding another great wrestling mind to their ranks. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Chris Hero is being looked at as a potential name to join All Elite Wrestling in at least a backstage capacity. Fightful Select are reporting that they have learned this information. They have been told that Hero is indeed in town and is scheduled to be backstage at the AEW Collision debut in Chicago tonight, working with the company on a trial basis. Now, Hero himself hasn't wrestled since his WWE release over 3 years ago. However, he recently told Grapsity's Righteous Reg and Phil Lindsay that he's not retired and is waiting for the right situation to occur. Numerous independent promoters have confirmed that they've expressed interest in booking him in the past. Now, Fightful are saying that they don't know if there are any plans for Hero to wrestle for AEW, but there are plenty on the roster that do have history with him. Of course, one being CM Punk. CM Punk and Chris Hero have a huge history on the independent scene right at the beginning of CM Punk's career, and certainly it'd be very interesting to see a situation where CM Punk would be interacting not only with Samoa Joe inside a ring for the first time in nearly 20 years tonight on TNT, but also as well Chris Hero. What would that mean for CM Punk too? So let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. What do you think Chris Hero's best role could be in AEW? Of course, we do know some of the physical issues he's had over the last few years, and he hasn't wrestled in 3 years. So do you expect him to wrestle in AEW? Do you expect him just to be working backstage? What are your thoughts on this latest news, and do you expect to see Chris Hero tonight live on TNT? Now, speaking of CM Punk, of course, we know the issues, the drama, the beef, the heat between CM Punk and the Elite. Well, on Friday, CM Punk's first interview since disappearing from AEW programming in September of last year was published by ESPN, causing a bit of a stir that was spurred by it being hyped up elsewhere the day before. The meatiest part of the article, though, concerned CM Punk's issues with Hangman Adam Page. Per the article, Punk felt that Page, by straying from the planned content of their talking segment on the Double or Nothing 2022 Go Home episode of Dynamite, abdicated the trust needed for their match a few days later. According to Punk, this was compounded by Page chopping him in the face during the match and chipping his tooth. Later on Friday, though, Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks seemingly responded in his own way by making a point of putting Page over as a human being in a disappearing story on his Instagram account. You can see it on the screen right there. Quote, "Not only is he good at wrestling, but he's an even better human being," Jackson wrote, closing the post by tagging Page's account. The Bucks have been silent about Punk since their reported physical altercation with him after his comments during the post-AEW All-Out Media Scrum last September, where he went off on them, among others. Though their talking head interviews on AEW All Access's reality show dealt with the subsequent suspension in broad terms, they were heavily edited to the point that if you didn't already know the story behind the scenes, you would have no idea what they were talking about. The Bucks and Kenny Omega were brought back from their suspensions after about 2 months following an internal investigation into the incident was indeed completed. That was confirmed yesterday by the ESPN article as well. So what are your thoughts on the comments by Nick Jackson when it comes to defending Hangman Adam Page? Is this just more drama that isn't becoming of EVPs, or are they right to defend their friend? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, what about Samoa Joe? What's his thoughts on all of this drama? Well, of course, AEW Collision premieres tonight live from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Even more notably, it features the return of CM Punk, who hasn't been seen live on AEW programming since the events of the All Out pay-per-view last September. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, published on the eve of the Collision debut, Samoa Joe, who will battle the best in the world as part of a trios match tonight, shared his feelings on the ongoing tension between Punk and the Elite. Quote, "This isn't a divide, it's an argument between men," Joe said. "All those dudes don't represent the entire genre of their generation." While the Elite's Kenny Omega, as well as the Young Bucks, made their way back to AEW programming just 2 months after All Out at Full Gear, Punk did not. At least in part due to a triceps injury. That will all change tonight. And while AEW President Tony Khan has denied there will be a formal roster split, he does plan to feature Punk and other stars on different shows. Joe believes it's on Punk and the Elite to sort out the backstage drama. They have their own issues and their own problems. I don't think it's that deep, Joe added. They're grown-ass men. They have disagreements. They can figure it out or not. That's between them. Until that day comes, however, the current Ring of Honor World Television Champion will look to put some punishment on the returning Punk, who is scheduled to team with FTR as they take on Joe alongside Bullet Club Gold's Jay White and Juice Robinson in tonight's main event at the United Center. Now, with Punk's return comes a brand new t-shirt, and it must be said, I'm a fan of this one because I'm a fan of Roddy Piper and this shirt specifically, but CM Punk's new AEW shirt pays homage to both Roddy Piper and Punk's dog Larry. Ahead of Punk's in-ring return at AEW Collision tonight, AEW released a new Rowdy Ringer t-shirt that has his cartoon photo of Punk's dog named Larry, as evident by the dog missing its lower right incisor, as well as the Chicago flag colours. The shirt seemingly pays homage to a shirt that Piper used to wear, which featured a puma. Punk has publicised his adoration for Piper in the past, as he hailed his dog collar match against MJF as his love letter to Roddy Piper. Like his owner, Larry the dog made the headlines coming out of the All Out Brawl last September. It was reported that when Punk's locker room door was kicked in by the Elite's camp, Larry was accidentally hit in the face and subsequently lost 2 teeth. Ace Steel's wife was reportedly looking after Larry in the locker room after he had gotten loose earlier on in the night and ran out into the venue prior to the pay-per-view going live. It remains to be seen if Larry will be in attendance for Punk's return on Collision, or if the shirt is meant to keep him there in spirit and away from the backstage area going forward. As noted, Punk will make his first live appearance tonight at the United Center in Chicago as he teams with FTR to take on Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe. As of this recording, members of the Elite are not advertised or plan to appear for the premiere episode on TNT. Now, some more details about AEW Collision, because we now know the broadcast team. Leave it to Tony Khan to take things right down to the wire in revealing the commentary team for the launch of AEW's new Saturday show, Collision. Just 1 day before the program's launch, that being yesterday evening, Khan has finally shared with the public via Twitter who will be at the broadcast desk for tonight's show on TNT. On the call for Collision will be play-by-play announcer Kevin Kelly, who has been the voice of New Japan Pro Wrestling for quite some time. He'll be joined by Nigel McGuinness on color commentary. McGuinness has been working on the broadcast of Ring of Honor on Honor Club since being reintroduced at this year's Supercard of Honor. And finally, Jim Ross will be providing expert analysis to the team as the third person in the booth. As of last week, Ross was still in the dark on the makeup of the commentary team. His primary responsibilities have been leading the broadcast of Rampage since being shipped off AEW Dynamite, so it remains to be seen if his presence on Collision will be permanent, if he's going to be a permanent fixture, or if he will be picked up in select spots to be involved. There has been some rumours that possibly he might just be calling the main events, i.e. he might just be calling the trios match tonight on TNT. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to that. Kelly added via his own Twitter that this does not affect his role with New Japan Pro Wrestling. The plan moving forward will be for him to be replaced with a temporary fill-in when he's required in Japan for any dates that might conflict, particularly for the upcoming G1 Climax tournament. Collision reunites him with Ross and McGuinness, who had been his broadcast partners at times in WWE and Ring of Honor respectively. Now also, it must be said, a shout out to Jim Ross because he's actually shown off his bruised eye following a bad fall ahead of tonight's debut episode of AEW Collision. Ahead of the show, Jim Ross has taken to Twitter to reveal that he suffered a black eye from a fall this morning. Ross confirmed that he's still going to be in Chicago for Collision though. He said, quote, "Bad fall this morning, still headed to Chicago for Collision. Historic night for AEW on TNT." So it's a bit of a shiner, it's a bit of a nasty one, but as I mentioned, there are rumours he's just going to be out there for the main event, but we'll have to wait and see if he's out there for the entire broadcast. But what do you think of that announced team? Are you happy with that? For the majority of the time, it being Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness. Is that a good contrast to Dynamite on Wednesdays? Let me know your thoughts on that. Now this one's quite fun as well because we know what the theme song's going to be, and it's going to be sung by none other than Sir Elton John. Yes, AEW Collision is mere minutes away, really hours away at the time of recording this video. CM Punk is ready to not only return but compete in the main event, plus Kevin Kelly, Nigel McGuinness and Jim Ross are slated for commentary duty. And that means for AEW President Tony Khan, there's only one thing left to do. Pick a theme song, and pick one he has, selecting Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting by none other than Sir Elton John. Quote, "It's official. Our opening theme for Saturday night's AEW Collision on TNT is Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting by Sir Elton John," Khan tweeted Friday evening. Tony, whose father Shahid Khan owns Premier League football club Fulham FC, mentioned Elton John's soccer club, football club as well. While Fulham and Watford will never be best mates on the pitch, you're now a great friend to AEW at Elton John. We salute you, sir. Of course, if you're not aware of what he's talking about here, Elton John has been involved with Watford for decades. He was once the club's chairman. So there you go. And they have actually released the intro for Collision with Elton John's theme song over it, and it's pretty good, it must be said. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you like this theme song? Do you like this intro, or do you not really care that much? The Acclaimed are going to be on AEW Collision tonight as well. A promo segment featuring The Acclaimed is set for tonight's debut episode of Collision. It was announced yesterday on Friday's AEW Rampage that we'll hear from The Acclaimed during the premiere episode of AEW's new 2-hour live show, but no further details were provided. In recent weeks, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and daddy-ass Billy Gunn have been embroiled in a rivalry with the House of Black, but were unsuccessful in their pursuit of the AEW World Trios Championships at Double or Nothing. As such, it remains to be seen if The Acclaimed issue a rematch against Malachi Black, Brody King and Buddy Matthews for the title. The Acclaimed last wrestled on AEW television on the June 9th AEW Rampage, where they defeated Serpentico and Helico and Luther in a trios match. In fact, over the past few months or so, The Acclaimed has constantly been seen in trios action, defeating teams such as Dralistico, Preston Vance and Roosh, Ari Daivari, Josh Woods and Tony Nese, Kip Sabian, The Blade and The Butcher, and Jake Hager, Angelo Parker and Matt Menard, among many other teams. The Acclaimed hold a 8-1 win-loss record in trios action in 2023, which would indicate they're being built up as legitimate contenders for the AEW World Trios Championships. So we're going to hear from The Acclaimed this evening as well. Let's talk a little bit about AEW Dynamite next week, because Matt and Jeff Hardy are set for in-ring action on the June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite, as they will face off with Austin and Colton Gunn. The match came about after the Gunns called out the Hardys on this week's Dynamite, with Matt and Jeff accepting the challenge on last night's episode of Rampage. The Hardys previously met the Gunns in the ring at the Double or Nothing buy-in, when they teamed up with Hook to take on the brothers and Ethan Page. The match stipulation saw Page's contract on the line, a contract now owned by Matt after Hook and the Hardys made Page tap out. Meanwhile, the Gunns' status relationship with another group, Bullet Club Gold, is unknown after they helped Jay White pull out a victory over Ricky Starks in the main event of the June 7 episode of AEW Dynamite. In a backstage segment with Renee Paquette this week, they dodged questions about White, opting to challenge the Hardys instead. It has been reported that Bullet Club Gold could be receiving new members soon, and with White and Juice Robinson facing CM Punk in a return match in the main event of AEW Collision, it's possible the Gunns could emerge to help White again and officially join the Biz Kids. So again, keep an eye out for that one tonight on TNT. finally, a few updates when it comes to Rush and Andrade El Idolo. AEW stars Rush and Andrade El Idolo are close friends, and it sounds as though they'll both have an important decision to make regarding their wrestling futures in the coming months. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Rush signed a one-year deal with AEW in 2022, meaning his contract will be coming to an end soon. As for Andrade, the former WWE superstar is under the belief that his contract is coming up soon as well, but it's likely that AEW will add time on due to injury. Rush's signing with AEW was announced last September, but it's unknown exactly when the deal was made official behind the scenes. Andrade debuted with the company in June 2021 and recently stated publicly that his contract with AEW expires in the near future. Andrade has been absent from AEW programming since the fall, reportedly having suffered an injury in All Out that's kept him out of action since. Around the same time, Andrade was reportedly involved in a physical altercation backstage with fellow AEW star Sammy Guevara. Andrade is now set to compete tonight on the debut episode of AEW Collision, where he'll face Buddy Matthews of the House of Black. As for Rush, he's been missing from AEW in recent weeks. We got some details on why that is, but reportedly it's due to visa issues. Now, could both men end up going to WWE? Well, according to reports, WWE are being very cautious when it comes to this. The degree to which wrestling promotions are willing to talk to wrestlers signed to rival promotions has varied greatly over years. Lately, everyone seems to be a bit more careful, but in the past, you had situations like the one Chris Jericho outlines in his memoir, where WWE was overtly wooing him while he was still with WCW in 1999. According to the new Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE is trying to be particularly careful at the moment, though, as WWE is wary of accusations of contract tampering by AEW, as well as adding any fuel to its own ongoing legal battle with MLW. This came up in the larger context of an update about the status of contracts of Rush and Andrade El Idolo, thanks to the rumor mill in Mexico heating up. As I mentioned, Rush has signed a one-year contract with AEW that's expiring soon, as well as Andrade stating that his contract could be up soon as well. So some people speculating that maybe WWE would have interest, but as of right now, WWE is being particularly careful when it comes to talking to people and trying to avoid allegations of contract tampering. Now, Rush, it's been a really interesting one for him recently as well, because mere weeks before Triple Mania Tijuana, AEW star Rush announced that he and his father, La Bestia del Ring, would be departing AAA effective immediately and would be going independent, at least in terms of competing in Mexico. Dave Meltzer noted in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that it was a bad look for AAA, as they had built the summer around the Guevara de Rivadales tournament that could have culminated in Rush versus LA Park in a hair versus mask match at Triple Mania. The idea of Rush versus Park was viewed as potentially being the biggest match to take place in Mexico currently. However, Rush was reportedly not offered enough money to lose his hair, nor would AEW want him to lose his hair either. AAA has not publicly addressed Rush's departure, as they may still be working to get Rush on the Tijuana show, despite him not having a legal agreement to appear as of this recording. It was also noted that people within AAA were shocked to learn that Rush and Park did not have written agreements to continue working with the company after promoting these tournament matches. As I mentioned, Rush made his AEW debut in May 2022, prior to signing a contract in September. Since then, he has been featured as a member of La Faction Ingobernables alongside Dralistica and Preston Vance. He challenged for the AEW World and International titles within his first year. In recent months, he's made appearances for both AEW and Ring of Honor programming while continuing to make dates in Mexico. So there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts as always in the comment section below. Remember, you can join me live for AEW Collision as we do a watch along and a post show tonight here on the channel. So I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.